Good morning. Welcome to week 5. Hey there, it's Jameson from Lessons with Coffee. If you're new here, I teach upper elementary, both a 5-6 split in Minnesota, Twin Cities, and I'm glad you're here. I am in the line to get coffee because, yes, it's a staff PD day, and me and my team of 4 originally all signed up for science because Minnesota's getting new science standards. So we originally signed up for science because in the original email from HQ, it said that ideally we would be spread across curriculums, but if everybody teaches 6th grade science, then we should go to that. Ultimately, it was up to us because every team works differently. So we all signed up for science. Then, I've got this weird piece of hair. Oh, it's my baby hair growing in. Then we get an email from the same lady that told us, like, do what we need to. It's our team. We know how we work. That said, man, we really wish that we saw more representation at different places. Are some of you going to be going to the technology? Because they wanted every 6th grade science teacher to go to the first science, and then some of them would go to technology, and some of them would just stay at science. And then the other option was the social studies. But the way that it made it sound was the social studies was something that 2 of my teammates feel as though they've already done. And then the technology, I felt like it sounded like they were finally going to teach 6th grade teachers like how to use the iPads because of the pandemic. Most 6th grade teachers just got like iPads thrown at them. So but I came from the middle school where I had already been using the iPad, so I kind of taught them everything. So we all just decided, well, let's just do the science because none of us have done the science. Anyways, we got yelled at. We needed to split up. So Carly and I are going to the social studies one that my other 2 colleagues feel as though they've already done. And we said we would do it this way because if it is different, great. If it's not different, at least Carly and I didn't do the social studies before. So that's what we're doing. So I technically don't have to be there until 8:15. That gives me, about, it's 8:45, so it gives me, or 7:45, it's about 30 minutes to get there with getting a coffee. So I'm trying to be cautious about what I'm getting. So I'm going to go order now. Okay, I got my order and now I'm going to drive because I think today is going to be a difficult day for me to check in with you. So that means I'm not going to look at my camera right now. So I'm going with Carly. Carly and I don't really get a chance to work together, which is kind of nice because I think of the 4 of us, we probably work really well together, but just the way that our staff has been in the past, Carly was on the 5th grade team and I was on the 6th grade team, and we didn't really get a chance to actually collaborate and work together, but we have very similar teaching styles, so we're kind of excited to work together. So yeah, that is that. I'm kind of excited. So our district does I think we have 6 PD days, and so everybody K through 4, PK, special education, and somebody else I don't remember is doing letters if they haven't already started letters. I already started letters, and it's life-changing, but they're not having 5th and 6th grade do letters because basically our district is implementing Avid in the elementary room, our school, and this year is our pilot year, and next year is the hit the ground running year, and they think that letters and Avid is going to be too much. So personally think that this is a terrible idea. Avid relies on reading and writing at its core. So if you don't know anything about Avid, having come from the middle school, like the key piece around Avid is WICR, which stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. So it's bookended by writing and reading. And if you know anything about letters or the science of reading, like, our kids can't read. And if you can't read, you can't write. And so while we're having all of our, like, see, and I don't even really count 4th grade as primary, so I don't know why they chose 5th grade and 6th grade as the, like, cutoff. I guess I can argue 6th grade because in every other district in our state, 6th grade is in the middle school. But when we've got kids that are in our 5th and 6th grade classrooms that are still, like, working on CVC words and, like, they have a hard time, like, decoding the word, I don't know, I can't think of anything right now, but, like the word though, and they're having a hard time decoding the word though. Like, we can't ask them to be reading and writing and doing things the Avid way. Like, you can't be asking kids to write their own notes when they can't hardly write. And on top of that, we're dealing with the COVID. Like, I've been looking at some of my 6th, 5th, and 6th graders' handwriting, and, you know, a lot of their years where they were, like, learning how to print and learning how to, like, that was all done online. And, you know, handwriting for kids has not been great for a while, but, like, man, I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with Avid. My last school that I was at, which was in our district, they were a school-wide Avid school. We were a national demonstration school. My classroom was a demonstration classroom. That meant that other schools that were learning how to be an Avid school had to come into our school and, like, check us out. And people, like, on any given day, I had a lot of principals, I had a lot of other teachers, like, just going in my classroom and, like, seeing all of the strategies that I was doing. And while it, like, was okay, like, a lot of Avid is just really good teaching strategies that, like, you should be doing anyway. Like, your kids should be collaborating, your kids should be writing down their thoughts and, like, you know, stuff like that. But a lot of it is intended for, like, advanced kids that our kids are just not at. And the whole stink with, like, Lucy Calkins being like, not equitable to kids, and, like, expecting them to have mastered a lot of different things. A lot of the arguments for that, and, like, why Lucy Calkins, like, herself has even been like, yeah, like, don't use my stuff. Especially with the Science of Reading coming out, like, or not coming out. Science of Reading is not new, but with the Science of Reading, like, being hot right now, I just have a lot of the same sentiments about it's not super equitable with Avid. Now, don't come at me, because I do know that Avid is a transforming experience for a lot of students. I do know that it's a transforming experience for a lot of students of color. However, I think that many of the students that get selected into Avid, reminder that Avid is a program that you are selected for, are kids that have a lot of the extra support that many of our other students don't have. I am not saying that there's not exceptions to this grandiose statement that I'm making, so again, don't come at me. But I just feel as though 5th and 6th grade should have also taken the letters training, and we should have pushed Avid out. I think that Avid will always be there that we can implement, but like our kids and being able to read and write is not. Like, we are going to lose a lot of kids by 5th and 6th grade not being trained. Like, it's going to stop in 4th grade, and that's not fair to the 5th and 6th graders. And there's so many, like, advanced word work is not done in 5th grade. Like, we're still working on prefixes and affixes and Greek and Latin roots, and like, we're still working on those phonics. So it's like, I just think it was a terrible idea for our district. So anyway, K through 4 is at our building doing letters training. 5th and 6th grade are elsewhere doing either social studies absent narratives or the new science. And then the next time we meet, those people that were at science can choose to do technology, or they can choose to stay in science. But the last two meetings that we have is all about Minnesota Makoche, which we have a strong like core in our district about we are on stolen Anishinaabe land, and so it's doing more of that. And since 6th grade social studies is technically Minnesota studies, they are doing more of that. So I don't know what I'm really in for today, because 5th grade social studies standards are American history, and this is absent narratives. I have an idea of what I'm in for, but I don't know if it's the same thing that my other 2 coworkers have done, or if it's completely different. So we will find out and see. I'm at a stoplight, so I'm going to say bye for right now, and I will see you probably at lunch. Hey friends, on the way back to school, just grabbed myself some lunch from the grocery store, and we had a decent PD. It was nice. So we are doing absented narratives, which means that we are attempting to put back into historical curriculum the narratives of those that are not. We are particularly focusing on the Native American, particularly of the Minnesota tribes, the Dakota, Lakota, and the Ojibwe. We had a professor from St. Cloud University leading our work that we will be doing throughout the year, and she is Dakota, which is nice. I have a hard time getting authentic absent narrative instruction from those that are not kind of a part of or affected by. It doesn't seem as genuine. It doesn't seem as real, local, and immediate. So anyway, my coworker and I are a little bit frustrated that we have to go to this, because we technically don't teach the 5th grade standards this year for social studies, and we technically are teaching the 6th grade standards. So when we looked through the 5th grade standards, which is like early American history, we decided that if we got to choose a unit to kind of focus more on, we would do early communities and early settlements, because then we can at least take the work that we're doing with that and kind of apply it to our 6th grade curriculum. And I don't know what it's like in other states, but in Minnesota, the Minnesota curriculum for 6th grade social studies is Minnesota history, which is primarily about the Dakota, Lakota, and Ojibwe. So we were struggling with trying to figure out, like, how do we basically take 6th grade curriculum and shove it into 5th grade curriculum and still have time to teach it all, because as you all know, like, we have too much on our plate. And our director of curriculum was in there, and I flat out said, I'm going to speak my truth. There are standards that we don't get to in every subject. There are math standards that we don't get to. And for us to now take and do something well, we have to like critically look at the subject and say, like, well, what is it that we actually honestly like are okay with us not getting to? And when our district has us do like different things, it's really difficult to just like plop it into your time that you've allotted for social studies, which is not much. Our days are really solely spent around literacy and math. And while I love that 6th grade is in the the elementary school in my district, like every other 6th grade around us has a 45-minute block every day dedicated to social studies at a middle school. And in some cases, 5th grade are also having dedicated time. And because we have it in an elementary school, we're just focusing so hard on literacy and science or math that our social studies, science, and health block turns into a half hour that we are also trying to rotate in that Spark class that we have. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I really think that our Spark teacher needs to help us with those science standards and making sure that we're getting them in, because some weeks the only time we have for science is when we go to Spark. We have Spark twice a week. Like, we only have 3 days that we have to get social studies, science, and health in a half hour a day for 3 days. Like, it's not fair that we also have to, add in that science. So if all we had to do was social studies and health that week, because the Spark teacher was hitting our science, then, life would be a lot better. But I'm rambling, and I'm probably rambling because I'm driving and I can't really stop the camera. But I don't know. I kind of left that PD with a lot more questions than answers. We were basically told, it was not your turn, but that's okay. I hate people at 4-way stops. We were basically told that, okay, now go back to your buildings, but you as a group of 13 5th grade teachers need to figure out how you're going to split up our curriculum and add more Amsitten narratives into it. So, I don't know. I think Carly and I are both kind of left like a little frustrated, a little, so we'll see where we go. Oh, and then our behavior coaches were behind us. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to plan a lesson? I hope not, because I'm not trying to but what some of those women were saying, they probably need to take some of our classes with absented narratives, because it was not good things that they were saying. We'll see you later. Hey, so we're back in the building. Met with my team, figured out what we needed to kind of talk about for both of our whatevers, printed out a bunch of stuff for this week. A coworker of mine just sent me a link to clear whiteboard, sticks to any surface, including, so like you could put it on a fridge, you could put it on a wall, but she put it on her TV and it makes it work. So it's like removable. What's the difference? Oh, that's white. So there's it's clear and it comes with, and it worked. And I'm going to buy it. So it's 2 of them and it'll be delivered on Wednesday. So we're going to buy it. I'll let you know how that goes, obviously, this week, and obviously send you the link. Otherwise, that's it. So math, we're going to do what is happening here? math, we are going to do a pretest and then kind of jump into a review of adding decimals so that we can kind of keep doing what we were doing with the place value. But because it's not 6th grade specific to our standards, we're not like testing them or anything on it. It's more of a review and a reminder, and then we're rolling it into the 6th grade, adding and subtracting decimals, which is also not a 6th grade standard. So we will not be testing that, but it'll get us to go into multiplying and dividing decimals. So I kind of talked with my coworker, and whatever we do, we decided that the week that I go to Disney World, we're going to try to be at multiplying decimals, multiplying and dividing decimals. I'm sorry, fractions, because that's a pretty easy thing for a guest teacher to teach. And then in language arts, we are doing, diving deeper into characters and writing a fictional narrative. So the biggest thing is that I have to start our small groups here soon. So I gotta go look through all my data to find that. Anyway, I gotta go. Hey friends, I am back in the car. I'm gonna go get Frankie. He has his doctor's appointment this afternoon. I just didn't get a chance while I was in the classroom to like close up my day with you, and yeah. So today felt kind of overwhelmingly like not a waste of my time, but also a waste of my time. Like, upon reflection, I feel like everything that I did this morning could have been done in about 45 minutes instead of 3 hours. But it is what it is, and that's kind of par for the course. I'm hopeful that like some good work comes out of it, I guess. We don't meet again until December 22nd in these like cohorts for what it is that we're doing. So yeah. So we're gonna do the mentor text of the Good Egg this week. I kind of talked about math. I kind of talked about literacy. I need to kind of figure out, I need to get started with social studies. Like, we've been kind of doing little bits here and there with like Constitution Day and Orange Shirt Day and Hispanic Heritage Month. But I haven't like gotten really into like our content, which the first kind of chapter of 6th grade social studies is like Minnesota and me. So it's like their connections to Minnesota. So like, how did their families get here? What part of like what cultural like group do they identify with? And so it's a pretty fun unit, and it lets kids see a lot of like similarities and differences between them. If you know this or not, but Minnesota's a pretty big like refugee state. So we have lots of refugees from Myanmar. We have a lot of refugees from Tibet. We have a lot of refugees from Somalia. We also have a lot of Hmong. Mostly at this point it's 2nd generation. Karen is kind of starting to get into that like 1st generation. So so we've got a lot of different cultural representation that way. We have a big Iranian population where I live. Also like a fairly large Russian population, which has been extremely difficult for them with everything that is going on. And then we have a big Native American group in our district as well. So I think in my class right now, I currently have 7 students who identify as American Indian. So that is why we are doing the absented narratives and why I'm hopeful that it turns out to be something that is more worthwhile than how I felt this morning. But yes, so I need to get that unit up and going. I am going to hold off on science because I have not actually read the new science standards for Minnesota, and it sounds like we get to do rocks. So I don't know enough about it, and I think I'm just going to wait until my coworkers get a little deeper into their research of new science standards before I start teaching science. Anything other than, like, you know, when I have a guest teacher, I'll often play a Bill Nye the Science Guy or a Brain Pop or something like that. So I think I will be kind of holding off on that for a little bit. Health, we usually do health on like some days as well, except for like the big units like drugs and alcohol abuse and like the human body, sexuality. We tend to do those ones, but we haven't really done much with like healthy eating, stress, athletics, like that kind of stuff. I really wish we had an online program for that, but we don't. So anyway, that's kind of my week. And I have a letters class on Thursday. I think that's about all I know. So hope you have a great day. We'll see you in the morning. Stop sign. Have a great day. Hey friends, I actually cut this video off short because I talked forever on one day. Look forward to my next episode for the rest of the week. Thanks for watching.